Hi, I'm John, and this is a final form cooler figure. But what if I transformed him into his golden form from Super Dragon Ball Heroes? To do that, I'll need to sculpt, mold, sand, and paint the figure, with some help from channel partner Gallery and their Kaleido metal color set. Gallery has been a great partner, bringing my projects to the next level with their high quality airbrushes and paint. And right now, they're running their Amazon Black Friday Cyber Monday sale across the globe now through December 1st. And even better, you can stack my discount code JONSHOBBY to save an additional 10% on top of already great discounts Gallery has, so be sure to grab yours using the links in the description below. Alrighty, let's get started. Starting with the head, Cooler's fifth form has these ridges in his sick face mask, but his golden form has a smooth, clean finish. So, it's time to break out the epoxy sculpt. While that cures, I went to the opposite end of his body, in his tail. I guess all the ridges he had in his mask went to his tail when he transformed, so I went ahead and sculpted those in. Starting with the lowest cone, making my way to the top like a Christmas tree. While blending, I also attempted to scrape some texture into the tail with a paintbrush. Next up, I have to add these little horny bits into his shins. And since these arm horny bits already have some texture in there, and I need two identical sized horns, it's molding time. I used this clay to block off the armband that I didn't want molded, making it into a rectangle so I can fit it into the mold. Then I took this cardboard and some hot glue to make a housing for the mold. Then I mixed together some 2-part silicone and poured it in slowly to avoid making any bubbles while creating the actual mold. Once the mold was fully cured, I removed the cardboard housing and took the armband out, leaving me with a nice hole to make my horny bits, which I made using this suspicious looking quick cure polyurethane resin. Once everything was fully cured, I removed it from the mold and sanded the flat edge with some coarse sandpaper. The coarse texture on the surface will give super glue some extra grip while attaching the horns to the shins. And then I filled in the seams using some epoxy sculpt and used some rubbing alcohol to help blend in the seams. Next up was his torso, adding in this little weird hip separation thing. So I placed a long noodly bit against his hips and followed along his already sculpted hip bones to create the seam. For the section above his butt, I used this frame to show exactly how it blends in with the tail, and I followed suit. After doing some blending with a sculpting tool and some rubbing alcohol, it was time to do a little bit of sanding. Once I smoothed everything out, it was prime time. Using this post from Gallery's Instagram page as reference, I primed all the light gold sections with white and all the darker gold sections with black. Then I painted in all of his bulbs, including this new one in his chest, with some vibrant blue, and clear coated it with a gloss coat to protect the paint. While that was drying, I got to work on all of the dark gold sections using some champagne gold, a nice mid-tone gold included in the metal color set. Once the clear coat on the bulbs was fully dried, I put on some masking tape to protect the bulbs so I can get started on those lighter gold sections. For these sections, I added in a little bit of copper to all the crevices to give it some shading and a little bit of color differentiation. And then I blasted the entire thing with 4 to 5 coats of flashy gold, the brightest tone of gold in the set. I also used a little bit of flashy gold on the darker areas to break up the colors a little bit and to give them some additional highlights. Then I went back to the lighter gold areas and used some silver on some of the tips and sharp edges of the sculpt to add some extra sheen and highlights. I decided to punch up the vibrancy of the purple fists and feet, not only because I love the vibrant tone of the purple that these Kaleido paints have, but also because I had to paint in some purple on his face. I used a really vibrant red to fill in his pupils, and used some black to fill in the rest of his face, as well as those little weird ear hole things. While I was at it, I also took the opportunity to give Cooler a mani-pedi. Coming down to the home stretch, it was the moment of truth with unmasking, and for the most part it came out pretty good. After making some off-screen touch-ups, I blasted the entire figure with a glossy varnish to really make this golden Cooler shimmer. And if you're a fan of the channel, you may know that if a character has a shiny bulb, I'm going to use some UV resin. This time around, I'm actually using some UV resin nail polish. I was watching my wife do her nails and realized it was the same thing as my usual UV resin, but a little bit more viscous and had a brush applicator, which would give me some more control on how and where the resin goes on the bulbs. Once the last bulb was cured with some UV light, all that was left to do was to put him back together.
Sa, 始めようか。
Here's the final result. Kaleido paints have always impressed me on their finish, durability, and ease of use, and this metal color set is not any different. They're great. And using a glossy varnish really brings out the shine on these metals. Be sure to check out their Black Friday sale to grab an airbrush and some paints at a great price, and be sure to use my code at checkout to save you an additional 10% on your order. Of course, thanks to all my members. Membership to the channel is only $2 a month, where you can catch sneak peeks of all my projects before they release, and some member-only polls that can help influence some content on the channel. But most importantly, you'd be supporting me directly. Also, today's video is a collaboration with Matches Peaches, so make sure you go check out his channel for the latest and greatest Dragon Ball figure reviews, and be sure you like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.